Hello, welcome back. In this video, we'll talk about the list basics. It's very similar. There's a lot of things in common with the string basics because these two types are sequence types. So what we're going to cover over here in this video, we're going to talk about the Python list in general. How can we access values in the list, updating a list, deleting list elements, basic list methods. There's several built-in methods and functions that we can use, and we're going to see indexing similar to what we saw in the strings. How can we slice it? And we're going to see a bunch of methods that we have available in Python for lists. And after that, we're going to see another type of sequence we call tuples. Okay, so again, just very quick, lists, it's also a type of sequence, just like this. The strings, it's type of sequence. That being said, there's several built-in functions that we can use for this built-in types, such as sequence, lists and tuples. And there's a lot of things in common between all these sequences. We can use indexing to access to the elements or the items in the list. We can do slicing, we can do adding, multiplying, and check if this element or if this item is inside this list or not. Also, list accept or can work also with the length function as we saw before in the strings, and we will be able also, there's some methods that will help us to find the largest and the smallest elements in the list. Okay, so let's take a look at the list and what we mean by the list. Okay, I'm just going to jump to this example over here. Okay, a list is a container or a sequence that has different items. Okay, as you can see over here, these items are separated by a comma. Okay, you see them over here separated by commas. So, and the list, the items of the list, we put them between square brackets, as you see it from here. So when I'm still in Python right now, I'm saying that this is a variable name or an object name called list1, and assigned to it, once I put the square brackets, Python will understand this is a list. Okay, this is going to be a list, and every item I have in the list, it has to be separated by comma. In this list, I have 4 items. The first 2 items are strings. The last 2 items are numbers. Okay, if you're familiar with with Java or some other programming languages, usually when you create a list, it's equivalent to an array, and usually in other programming languages, arrays must be all of them of the same type. So if you create a list or an array in, for example, C++, all the items in the array must be of the same type. For example, must be all of them integers or floats. But Python is forgiven for that. Python is flexible. Okay, so you can have, in this example, strings and mixed with numbers. You can have all numbers, you can have all strings. And if you want to create a list and you want this list to be empty, then you can add to it later, you populate it later. You can create the object or the variable list4 in this example equal to square brackets and empty. So Python is going to create a list, but it's going to have no items. Okay, I'm going to just show you this example over here. If I say, for example, list1, for example, equal to and square bracket empty. Okay, Python is not going to mind it. If I say, show me the length of this list, which I just created, list1, it's going to give me the length for it 0 because it has no items inside it. Okay, we call these we call them items, what populate the list. Okay, some people, they call them elements, but they have the same meaning. Okay, how can I access to an item inside my list? I access to it exactly the same way I accessed to the characters or the letters inside the string, by using the index. Okay, and they are also 0-based indexes. So that being said, this list has 4 items. The first item, which is physics, is located at index 0. Chemistry is located at index 1. 1997 index 2, and 2000 is located as index 3. Okay, and if you want to print them, you can print by specifying the exact index between square brackets. Just assume like this one, we have a list over here. I'm going to call it list 2, and this list 2 has, I'm going to make it have numbers 100, 200s, 300s. Okay, so if I say show me what's inside list 2 index 0, it's going to give me the first item. Okay, can I do slicing over here? Can I access to multiple? Of course I can. Very similar again to the strings. I can use the colon. Okay, so I can say, for example, list 2, this is the name of my list, and between square brackets I have the colon, start from, let's assume start from 0, go all the way to index 2. That will give me the first 2 items of the list. Okay, so this is one of the ways that we're going to learn more about lists in this course, but not in this chapter. This chapter we're just going to cover the basics about lists. Okay, as you guys can see from the example, you can pause the video and try that yourself using idle. Again, we use idle just to test these little things that we're learning, but I recommend you to use PyCharm if you want to write a program. Okay, let's go again here and let's see, what if I want to update the list? One of the good things about lists that makes it a little bit different than strings. String, we said they are like we cannot change them once we create them. List, no, they're flexible. We can change them actually. Okay, I'm going to go back again to my list over here. Okay, if I say show me list underscore 2, it's going to give me all these items. What if I want to change this one from 200 to make it to 220, for example? Very simple. I say list underscore 2, which is the name of my list, and then between square brackets, what item I want to change? I want to change the value of item at the item located at index 1, which in my example over here is 200, and assign to it the new value. The new value 220. Okay, now I'm gonna say show me my list, which is list 2. It's gonna give me list 2 and the item, or the second item of my list, which is located at index 1, is updated. Okay, you can try this example as well using idle. Okay, what if I want to delete list elements or delete list items? How can I do that? Well, we have some built-in functions that can help us to, or method that can help us to delete, and also I can use remove, or I can use the del, and we're gonna see the difference between the del and the remove. Okay, so let's go back again to our example over here. Okay, so let me try to delete one of the items. If I want to use the del delete, I have to specify what index the item is at, so I can delete it. Okay, so I'm gonna say, for example, to use the del, you have to type del first, and then I'm gonna have my list name, which is list number 2, and then I have to specify the index. So if I delete the 220, I'm gonna say at index 1. Okay, now show me what is my list 2, what's inside it. Only 100 and 300s. Okay, so what happened to the item? Okay, now I want you to think about it this way. I deleted the item at index 1, and now it doesn't show over here. It's gone. What happened to the 300? The 300 is shifted to index 1, and there's no more index 2, because the length of my list right now, as you guys can see it, the length of the list right now changed. It's 2, not 3 anymore. Okay, so this is one of the way I can delete items from my list. Okay, by using the del and then specify the index. Okay, if I want to use the remove method, the remove is a method. Okay, so one of the things when it comes to methods, okay, so I'm gonna type over here just the regular, the general structure of using methods. Okay, if you want to delete with a method, you have to specify, you have to say the object name, object, then you have to say dot and the method name. And then between parentheses, the arguments that goes with the method. Okay, so what is my object name over here? My object name is list_2. The method I'm using right now to remove is remove. What I'm going to remove? I'm going to remove, let's assume, I'm going to say remove 100. And now show me what's list2. List2 has only one item, which is 300. So take a look over here between the delete or del and remove. When I used del, I needed to specify the index. However, when I use the remove, I probably didn't know where is the index of the item I want to delete. So the remove will take the value of the item or the item itself, and it's going to go and find out what index is located at, and it's going to take care of that. Okay? That's the difference between the delete and remove. It depends on the application, it depends on your program, which one you're going to use.